crack myself up. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. That's different. I really like that. They're like together, like peas and carrots. That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud. This is not what I expected. Hello, once again. It is Thursday. We are back. It feels like it's been forever since we did a live Bourbcast. Did it, Monday, May 1st, and here it is, May 11th, so it's been 10 days since we did one, and it just feels like forever. It feels like I'm out of practice. And I might be. So, briefly, you might have seen the photo that I took. Let's go to the photo, shall we? This is the whiskey photo I took. Now, what you don't know about this whiskey photo is what happened in the middle of taking this photo, and that's this. It fell right in the stream, or creek, and I cannot begin to tell you how grossed out I was to see this. I'm looking through my camera going, where's my bottle? And I look up, and there it is in the drink, and I'm going, bleh! So yeah, that was not a happy moment. But here we are. I actually took this bottle inside and I washed it with soap and water because the thought of it laying there and that. So if the label looks worse than it did originally, which is a little hard to figure out if it could even happen, but anyhow, that's what happened to that bottle, and if the label looks even worse than it originally did, it's because I had to wash it. I'm not a germaphobe, but I identify as one. I played one on TV once. The stars are aligning to tell me that I shouldn't be drinking Rowan's Creek tonight. I should definitely be drinking something of much, much higher proof. I finished off a bottle of Rare Breed earlier in the week. There we go. I'm going to manhandle this bad boy. And I forgot how good Rare Breed was. On first crack, I was like, wow, that's a warm one, 113 proof. And when I finished that over the course of, I don't know, a week, I got back into an old Overholt 114, and that is slightly higher. Not only in proof, it's 114, but it's also slightly higher in spice because of the rye content. Old Overholt is a rye, whereas Rare Breed, the one I had, is a bourbon. Now, it may be a high rye. I don't remember the mash bill on it, but it's not important. All I know is that I had a good week. All right. So last week we tried the Noah's Mill. This week we're doing its younger brother, Rowan. Rowan's Creek. This has got to be, I'm sorry, the ugliest label in all of bourbon. And there are some freaking ugly labels out there. Mellow Corn is an ugly label. It stands out. It's its own thing. Yellow cap. Do I have it close? No, I put it back. It's not a pretty label, but of all the labels out there, this one, I mean, I could have done this better with the crayon myself. This is ugly as heck. And I hope this isn't kind of a characteristic that I'm going to expect out of this bottle. Because the Noah's Creek, I actually rather liked. It was, as I said, probably too many times last week, full of flavor. It was actually very good, and I liked it. We might go back to it just because it's here, and I might as well. But let's get on with this first. Quinn's watching. Hey, Quinn, how are you? Quinn and I were talking earlier today. There is going to be an old Overholt 10-year, and it's supposed to be cask strength. So, that's it. Will it be as good as the 114? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. All right, so let's get into it. Rowan's Creek, another Willett Distillery product named after the creek that runs through the distillery. Used to carry an age statement of 12 years, but that stopped around 2006, just like Noah's Mill did. 100.1 proof. Very specific. 100.1 proof. Doesn't carry an age statement, but that means it's got to be at least 4 years old, or a blend of whiskeys that are at least 4 years old. Originally, just like Noah's Mill, Rowan's Creek was distilled at Bernheim. Rowan Creek, still sourced from somewhere. In the past, Kentucky, the company that runs this, Kentucky, no, that's not it. I don't remember. Kentucky something, Bourbon something, or whatever, distillers, source the barrels for their brands, including Rowan's Creek, from a variety of suppliers. Heaven Hill is right down the road. They got source barrels from Jim Beam. They use number 4 barrels. Four Roses, they use number 3 and 4 barrels. So they would get it wherever it became available. But here's the mash bill. I had to write this down along with everything else. There are 4 different whiskeys that make up this blend for Rowan's Creek. Let's see. The first one is a mash bill of 72% corn, 17% rye, 15% malted barley. The second one is 79% corn. These are high corns, but you're going to find out there's a high rye in it too. 79% corn, 7% rye, 15% malted barley. That's a high number for malted barley too, by the way. That's going to give it some really fruity overtones. Bourbon 3, 52% corn, 38% rye. Whew. That's going to be spicy. And 10% malted barley. And then the fourth one is actually a wheated mash bill. 65% corn, 20% wheat, and 15% malted barley. Again, very high on the malted barley. So I'm expecting this to have fruit overtones. I'm expecting it to have maybe some spiciness because of the rye, the high rye content. And I'm expecting it to be very sweet because of the corn content. So let's find out. Woohoo! It's often said this is the cheaper little brother of Noah's Mill. The Noah's Mill was $67.99 in the state of Ohio, and this one is $52.99 in Ohio, up almost $20 from its original. It was $40. It was a $40 pour, and this was a $60 pour, and it's up too. All right. Just like Noah's Mill, it's giving me some astringency on the nose. On the first sniff, it reminds me a little of Bactine. Mama, I have a boo-boo. Ah, you're cracking your Rowan's Creek. Awesome. Awesome. I have a boo-boo, Mama. Put on some Bactine. And then they put it on and you're like, ah, quit it. Remember Bactine? That stuff hurt. Let's see. Hey, Kevin's back. I hope you enjoyed your trip. Went to Aruba. Aruba, Jamaica, I wanna. I know, they probably heard that. It's like when I went on a cruise one time. It was in the 90s, and everybody around, you go to the cruise, and it was the Love Boat. Some of you are too young for the Love Boat. Thank your lucky stars you're too young for the Love Boat. Terrible. But you'd hear that song everywhere. You'd got like Caribbean bands. It was a cruise to the Bahamas, 3-day cruise to the Bahamas. Caribbean bands everywhere playing the Love Boat on steel drums and stuff, and you're like, just shoot me. But at the time, Love Boat was still like on everybody's mind, and so you know they would equate a cruise ship with the Love Boat. Yeah. Some of you may be even too young for the Aruba reference. That was a song called Kokomo by the Beach Boys. Also, I think, done in the 80s. All right, let's quit fooling around. I needed to get rid of that astringency, so that's why I give it a little extra time and a little extra yakety yak. Don't talk back. Another old song. Sorry. Shades of old being a radio DJ, you know? Know a little bit of all that. Okay, that's better. Ooh. Okay, there's a little bit of leather, a little bit of tobacco. That's the dark side. That's that spice side. But there's also a fruitiness to it. There's a real nice cinnamon and caramel note. Caramel, if you have a degree. That's going to be one of my things I'm going to have like put on a shirt one of these days. Caramel, if you have a degree. How would you spell that differently? I guess you'd have to do it phonetically. With like little dots in between. Mel. Sorry. A lot of your traditional notes are in there. There's some honey in there. That's really nice. But there's definitely, that barley's giving me a nice fruit overtone. Soft leather on the nose. I think so too. Kevin, swish it around a little bit. Give it a little more time. Some of those scents do open up a little bit more. And you'll start to get some of the sweetness. I think some of that, not so floral as Noah's Mill, more fruity than that. But I got fruit on the nose with Noah's Mill too, and then later on it became floral on the palate. So we'll get into that here in a minute. Yeah, those cinnamons and caramels are really popping now. Yeah, the more I let it just kind of breathe a little bit, the less of the floral and fruity notes I'm getting, and the less of that tobacco and leather, those notes, those are going away. The nose has changed. Now, this is a fresh crack. You saw me struggle to get this sucker open. So, yeah. Okay, let's go. There is a lot going on in that dram. When I first brought it over the palate, it had a leather and tobacco flavor to it, but that very rapidly changed. Very rapidly. I didn't even give a chance really to taste it. That was just priming the palate because I haven't drank anything else today. Kevin says he likes it. Kevin, I think that's an understatement. I like it too. But I want to really dig in and try to excavate everything I'm getting out of this flavor bomb. Now, is it the same type of flavor bomb as this? No. This one is so much more fruity and floral that they don't even compare. So to call this a younger brother of this probably isn't all that fair anymore. Wow. Okay. I'm going to take a small sip for a change. See what happens. Okay, the small sip was more bourbony. It gave me those traditional notes, the cinnamons and the caramels and the vanillas and the honeys. And it's very nice, by the way. I've heard a lot of people knock this brand, and I wasn't expecting much, but boy, I'm surprised. Kevin, it drinks light, then the finish hits hard. What a combo. It does, and that's a really great note, Kevin. It does drink light. Then as it sits on the palate and it finally goes down into the finish, it's like, ha! Where did that come from? And I'm not telling you that it gets its flavor on the back. I did see some comparisons with Basil Hayden online. That didn't make me happy either. I wasn't altogether pleased with the idea that I was going to be drinking something that reminded me of Basil Hayden. But this has some similarities, but it doesn't not have flavor on the front. Basil Hayden, I don't taste it. Until it's going down my gullet, I don't even taste Basil Hayden. That's the complaint I have about Basil Hayden, is it saves everything for the back of your throat. This does not, but once you take it down, yeah, it kicks you on the way out the door, is basically what it's doing. That's the same thing I say about Basil Hayden, though. It kicks you on the way out the door. It just doesn't say hello first. It doesn't greet you, doesn't give you a little parting gift. It just Don't hit you with a good Lord split you. Meh, meh, meh. For those of you who have never heard that before, I didn't write that. I'm clever, but I'm not that clever. All right. All right, let's do this a little bigger sip this time. Fruity on the front, nutty in the back. And there's that burn right there. The bloom hits you after it's done, but it doesn't hit you in the back of the throat, it hits you on the tongue. It's really nice. I like this one. I do. All right, so we need to do what's next. So I'll just pour myself a little bit more here. A little bit more, a little bit more. Little bit more. I'm feeling musical today, sorry. All right. Kevin, rev up your water. All right. Okay. Little water on here. I didn't quite put a full milliliter in here. It was a little less because I didn't really pour myself a lot, and I didn't want to water it down too awful much. See if I'm missing anything. Okay. Michael's watching. Hi. Hey, I was reading an ad for bands playing in Coachella, or I take that back. It was on somebody's Facebook feed as a memory. They had gone to Coachella and they'd seen a bunch of bands that they loved, and Coachella Valley, Mike, checking in, right? And they were out there and they had gone to Coachella and they had seen all these legendary bands. One of them, the only one I really remember was Roger Waters. I think the Rolling Stones were there too. It's been a number of years ago, 6-7 years ago. But somebody was reminiscing based on one of those memory things that they do on Facebook that I never look at, but other people do. So I was thinking about you, Mike, when he posted that. It's like, aww, Coachella Mike. Oops, there I did it again. Oops, I did it again. Musical day. Musical Thursday. All right, here we go. A little water. That opened that up nicely. Where with the Noah's Mill, the water didn't really change it that much. This really opened up into much sweeter flavors. Slightly, only tiny, slightly better viscosity on the tongue. But boy, everything that you would think about, like there's citrus in there, a little, it's a mix, like there's a little lemon, a little lime, and a little orange. Getting a little bit of all of that. There's honey, caramel, cinnamon, vanilla, all that stuff. And on water, I don't really get the tobacco and leather notes that I got when it was purely neat. It's hidden. There's still a little bit of leather there, but not much. That's really nice. That got a lot sweeter. Very, very nice. Okay. So far, I find it great. Excuse me. I find it great neat, and I find it great with a little water on it. Now, let's try it with a little ice. And I'm on my final gorgeous ice sphere. I need to make more. Ice sphere. Don't you wish your ice sphere was hot like this one? Don't ya? Don't ya? I can't pour. I cracked myself up. I can't pour! Ugh. Michael says, Desert Trip, Stones, The Who. Yes, The Who was there. Bob Dylan, Roger Waters, Paul McCartney. That was the one. Yep. You're doing a metal version this October. That's fun. Kevin says, don't you think my ice is cold like me? That doesn't sound flattering. Sphere. Yeah. I try not to call it a nice ball. Just seems vulgar. Ice sphere. That we can say it like Jean-Luc Picard. Ice sphere. If you haven't seen the last season of Star Trek Picard, it's actually quite fun. And there's a new clip that's gone viral. Shucks, I'm not going to remember what it is. Go to YouTube and it starts off with numbers and then it's something else. And I want to call it, it's not Redemption, it's something else, but it has like a cross between the end of Generations and the new Picard series, where they're send Starfleet vessels down to pick up the dish that was left on Viridian 3. I know I'm probably being super nerdy. I've always liked Star Trek. I'm just a fan. But so they go down to Viridian 3, which is what happened in Generations, when I can't tell you too much. And they picked up part of the saucer section from that movie, and it's featured in the Picard TV series in the last season and final season. And there's just this viral clip that it's only like 2 minutes long, and it's like, whoa. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to nerd out. And I wish I could remember what it's called. Not Redemption, it's something. All right. Boy, did that get sweet. Holy cow. Woo-hoo-hoo. And fruity. Oh. Wow. Now it's starting to rival Noah's Mill, with the fruity notes and the floral notes and still some citrus notes. Goodness gracious, that just became a flower bomb. I'm drinking a garden. Is it Mother's Day yet? Is it Mother's Day yet? Because that's when you're supposed to plant a garden, and it's in here. Wow. Wow, that got sweet. Okay, so this is one of those I can tell you that you're going to like it any way you do it. I would not make it a cocktail, though. I'm telling you. There are some bottles, yeah, go ahead and make a cocktail out of it. There's nothing special about the bottle. It tastes like everything else, right? Okay. Or it tastes like a lot of other things. And you might like the flavor of it. Okay. Old Granddad. You know, we had that a couple of weeks ago. Is it down here? Yeah. Oh, and there's the mellocorn. All right, so if you had to make a decision as to the ugliest label, would it be mellocorn or would it be Rowan's Creek, the crayon drawing? Which would it be? Would it be mellocorn? Rowan's Creek. Mellocorn? Rowan's Creek. I'm just saying. It's an ugly ass label. Okay. So anyhow, yeah, so I mean this is one of those that you get this in cocktails all over the place. An old fashioned, I mean this is almost standard in that, and in a Manhattan and a Sazerac, well, yeah, Sazerac too. So if there's nothing uber special about it, it's got great flavors and a great proof point. Excuse me. Then yeah, make a cocktail out of it. But there's some tastes out there, some drams that just are so unique that you don't want to hide them behind other ingredients. I mean, if you want to play with it, drop some bitters in it or something like that. But really, this has got just so much flavor all on its own that I think you will be pleased with Rowan's Creek. Again, there are people who don't like it. And let's not forget that this is made by Willett Distillery, the same people who make the pot still that either you like it or you don't. I've only had a little bit of pot still. I didn't mind it. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I didn't understand the hate. But there are people that absolutely hate the Willett pot still. I've never bought a big bottle of it. Mine was just a little airplane bottle of it, and I thought it was okay. But I maybe was wrong, according to the lexicon of today's bourbon connoisseurs. I'm going to give this another go because it was just, I didn't have enough on ice, and that was just incredible. Make sure I'm not missing anything. I am not. Oop. No, I'm not. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. This is so much fun. Next week, I'm going to tell you what's coming up as soon as I get done with this. I'm actually really excited about next week. And I don't have it here with me. I didn't bring it over, but I know what it is. So I'll tell you here in just a minute. Just a hint of spearmint. A little bit of that leather coming back. And when I say leather on this, I know that doesn't sound very attractive when you're talking about something that you're going to consume. But think about the smell of leather. And there's lots of different leathers. There's cowboy boots. There's Corinthian leather that you sit down in. There's leather in your car. There's a leather belt. Not the one you get whipped with, because that has the smell of blood and ouch on it. Blood and pain. But there's just something about the leather notes in a bourbon that can be exquisite. They can get in the way sometimes, but they can be quite exquisite. And in this, it just matches everything. It's just really nice. Okay, there you go. There's my review of Willett Creek, of Rowan's Creek from Willett Distillery. There's one other note that I have here. There was a review that I found that I thought was kind of interesting. Jonathan's watching. Jonathan, you're right at the end, buddy. But thank you for coming. We're going to wrap this up and tell you what's coming up next week at 7 o'clock next Thursday. It was interesting what this guy wrote. Who is this for? Rowan's Creek. Who is this for? Said, people who can't draw. He also said, bourbon aficionados who are looking for something new and people named Rowan. People who can't draw. Ugliest label in the world. Just straight Kentucky bourbon whiskey. Yeah, just awful. Just an awful label. Lawn took longer to mow. Sorry I'm late. It's okay, Jonathan. Luckily for you, this is always saved on Facebook. You can go back and watch it. We're also going to upload it on YouTube probably tomorrow, so it'll be there as well. I know this time of year, the grass grows a little thicker and a little faster. I mowed out the side yard last Saturday, and it needed it again 2 days ago. And I decided I wasn't going to do it, because I don't want to. Grows really fast, especially it's where the dogs poop. Really. Okay, anyway. All right, so next week, and I don't have it with me, so I'm going to take this down so it doesn't confuse anybody. Next week, it's one that I am actually really excited to try. I've never tried it. I have a couple of bottles of it. I looked for it forever and finally found, I bought the first one online and it got delivered, and then I went south and I found 2 more bottles on the shelf, and that is Johnny Drum. I've heard nothing but good about Johnny Drum. People talk about Johnny Drum with such positivity, and it's another one from Willett Distillery. And Johnny Drum came up in my research for Noah's Mill and Rowan's Creek, and I didn't want to read ahead because I didn't want to spoil it for you or for me. So Johnny Drum is next week, next Thursday. I couldn't be more excited about it. I've had these bottles for a couple of years. Matter of fact, I want to say I've had them for at least 2, maybe almost 3 years, and I've never touched them. So it'll be a fresh crack, just like everything else. Like me some J Drum. See, I'm being agreed with here. And I haven't even tried it yet. I'm excited about it. And for Kevin to say, I like it, oh yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So that's next week on Beautiful Bourbon. Again, we'll be here next Thursday, 7 o'clock. On schedule like normal. And Johnny Drum, baby. I'm looking forward to the photograph for that too, because I got a buddy that can help me. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Spread the word. If I ever do decide to do some snarky merchandise, I'm going to want to make some money. So far I haven't done any of that, but I'm considering it. Especially with some of the dumb stuff that I say, like caramel. I don't know. Figure it out. I know everybody does everything on the internet now to make money, and I never have. And I don't know that I want to, but at the same time, it might be fun. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I do totally appreciate it. Spread the word. Here, 7 o'clock on Thursdays, live, where we can interact. We can be a community. and then on YouTube, where they get the sloppy seconds. Take care of yourself. We'll see you next week.